I'm Amanda Sharratt, Chief Operating Officer at Whitaker-Myers Wealth Managers, which has recently been ranked as one of the top 20 registered investment advisors under $1 billion to watch in America. And of course, as always, your local Dave Ramsey SmartVestor Pro. Today, I'm here with our Chief Investment Officer, John Mark Young, and we're going to talk about one of the core tenets to our investing philosophy, MOAT-based investing.
Thanks, Amanda. I am so excited to talk about this topic. It's one that I could spend all day talking about. However, for the sake of our viewership and the folks tuning in today, I'll try to keep it to a manageable length.
Absolutely. I guess the best place to start is to discuss our research department, if you will. As of today, we have 12 financial advisors and planners out there meeting with new and existing clients to help customize a financial plan that works in conjunction with the baby steps and a whole support staff behind them. However, we don't employ research team members. So how do we make ourselves more robust than our smaller competition, but comparable to larger investment firms?
Yeah, that's a great question, and probably one that all of our clients at some point have asked. It's definitely one we regularly get from some of our larger clients and some of the more institutional money that we manage. Now, I go back to the first half of my career. I worked for what is now the 10th largest bank in the U.S. So I was used to significant research capabilities. And I knew that we needed, as we added scale over the years, and we got to a point where we were ready from both a firm perspective as we grew and a cash flow perspective, we were ready to hire an outsourced research firm. Now, we interviewed many, and we landed on Morningstar. What stuck out to us about Morningstar was two things. They were going to provide our clients with accountability on any mutual funds that our clients had in their portfolio, meaning that our clients, through their Morningstar website, they'd be able to see if their Morningstar, how they were rating their funds. Maybe they're rating them 1 star, which was, hey, that's a terrible fund, to 5 star, that's an excellent fund. And secondly, we as advisors retained access to Morningstar's over 100 analysts globally. And these analysts are not rogue analysts doing their own thing. Instead, they follow Morningstar's single consistent research methodology, which is, it's the heart of it is economic moats. The moat-based research methodology aims to identify companies with a competitive advantage because these sorts of companies have an easier time fending off competition and providing growth to their investors. Additionally, they aren't just looking at these companies that have an economic moat today, but they obtain the white moat distinction, and to be able to obtain that distinction, they need to be expected to keep that moat for over 20 years.
Okay, so does Whitaker-Myers Wealth Managers use moat-based investing in our portfolios?
Absolutely. We wholeheartedly believe in the strategy from both a philosophical perspective, the thought around the process, and its historical performance.
Help us learn about how Morningstar identifies these moat companies.
Yeah, so this is the part I probably could spend all day on, but essentially it's broken into 5 distinct areas. And perhaps in future videos, should clients and prospects be interested, we could dig into each of them for a more granular view. But the first they look at is switching costs. Think of it this way. If you as a company have a unique product or service your clients get locked into, and then you make it very expensive to move, you've met the distinction of achieving switching cost moats. If switching costs exceed the value you would create from switching, you just won't change as a consumer. So switching cost is big. The second one is intangible assets. This may be the hardest one to describe because it's intangible, but Starbucks falls into this category. And I don't want to open up the Pandora worm of Starbucks, but when you have an intangible asset, you own something like a brand, a patent, a regulatory license maybe, or something that prevents companies from duplicating your products. Next is the network effect. The network effect is essentially looking at companies that as their user base continues to grow, that growth continues to add value for both the existing and the new users. Think about this as the internet in general. When we started the internet, when Al Gore started the internet, that's a joke, but initially the US military and research companies were the only ones that used it. But as its popularity grew, so did the utility and impact and reach of the internet. Indeed, a company needs to be able to monetize their client base. Google falls into this category because they get about 80% of the search online, and this allows them to monetize that in assets like Android, Maps, Gmail, YouTube, and so much more. Fourth, cost leadership. According to Morningstar, cost leadership is the most challenging of the moats to maintain, but is the second most frequently source of economic moats. With cost leaderships, firms can undercut their competitors on price while still earning a similar margin to that of their competitors, or charge a market level price and just make higher margins. Walmart has a moat because they're the number one grocer, so they're buying a lot of that stuff and they're able to create efficiencies. The next is efficiency sale. This moat is most likely to be narrow, meaning that the competitive advantage is only seen to persist for 10 years in the future, not the 20 that you get with a wide moat. With this moat, the cost to enter the market outweighs the return expected over that cost of capital. So think about a railroad in this example. If you want to get in the railroad business, are you going to build an entire new steel railroad system and go find people to work for? No. So in that way, that's a moat that a company like Union Pacific has in that industry.
That's a great explanation. We obviously subscribe to the Dave Ramsey and Ramsey Solutions investing style. Of course, he tells his listeners to, on the show and through Financial Peace University, to invest in growth and income, aggressive growth, and international. How do we square this style of investing with Dave's recommendation?
Yeah, I love to answer this question, Amanda, because think about companies I mentioned above. Google, that's a large growth company, or in Dave's vernacular, that's a stock that would be found in a growth fund, right? And so, and then we talked about Union Pacific, and Union Pacific has a 2.5% dividend yield. It's another large company, and that stock with their dividend yield is often found in a growth and income fund. So we view this strategy as one that splits the middle between growth and income. Therefore, when we allocate this in our portfolio, we consider half the allocation to be part of the growth allocation and half of it to be part of the growth and income allocation for clients.
Okay. How has this type of strategy done in a year like this, where the stock market is down 25% as of the publication of this video?
Yeah. Well, I certainly don't want to get myself or yourself in trouble, so I'm going to just say our Chief Compliance Officer, Kelly Taylor, will ensure that I remind our viewers that past performance is not indicative of future results. However, its performance has been in the top 20% of all strategies this year, which means it's lost less. And over the last 10 years, looking at the longevity play, it's been in the top 4% of all similar strategies.
Okay. Is this strategy more of a person-based strategy or a process-based approach? Meaning, if I'm invested in this strategy, am I banking on the skill and expertise of a fund manager, or is there some other way the strategy ties to add value?
Yeah, so we believe globally as a firm in more process-based funds because they have a much easier time, in our opinion, to consistently outperform market returns. There, of course, is no free lunch. Nothing does it 100% of the time. However, this process follows the moat-based method. And as described above, it goes into all those details of the different moats. This means that if the fund manager retired tomorrow, the new one would pick up the same process using Morningstar's wide moat methods. This process is repeatable. Human-based returns are hard to repeat when you have a human doing it. We had one of our major growth funds, which had their fund manager retired just last year. Since his retirement, the fund has dramatically underperformed because it's hard to replace people. It's so much easier to replace processes.
Well, this has been an excellent discussion. I appreciate our firm's desire to invest our profits into things we feel provide value to our advisors, who ultimately are here to serve our clients and Ramsey Solutions fans. If you would like to talk to one of our advisors about your unique situation, to see how our team could help play a role in your financial success, go to the notes of this video and click on the link to schedule a meeting with one of our advisors. To those that are today our valued clients, we thank you and we look forward to our next gathering and to continue to plan like no one else so that later we can live and give like no one else.